From London stages to Hollywood stardom, Damson Idris has emerged as one of the most compelling actors of his generation. But what does life look like now for this rising powerhouse? In this video, we take you behind the scenes of Damson Idris's refined and rapidly evolving lifestyle. From his sleek, modern homes and stylish fashion choices, to the luxury cars and exclusive events that mark his ascent. We'll explore the breakout roles that launched his career, his global influence, and his estimated net worth in 2025. This isn't just a story about fame, it's about ambition, authenticity, and a man rewriting the rules of success on his own terms. Before the red carpets and designer suits, before the billboards in Times Square or the roar of Hollywood premieres, Damson Idris was simply Damson, the youngest of 6 siblings, raised by a single mother in Peckham, South London. Born to Nigerian parents who emigrated in search of opportunity, he grew up in a household where resilience wasn't an option. It was the only way forward. His mother, a hardworking NHS worker, embodied the Nigerian ethic of perseverance. While the world outside was often cold and unforgiving, inside their home was a nucleus of warmth, discipline, and deep faith. The family shared tight spaces but expansive dreams. Meals weren't just nourishment, they were moments of bonding, storytelling, and identity formation. Yoruba proverbs echoed in the kitchen, and Afrobeat classics played from a dusty speaker in the living room. Their culture was a living, breathing force. Peckham in the 90s and early 2000s was a community both vibrant and volatile. Crime rates were high, and opportunities were scarce. But it was in this crucible of contradictions that Damson's character was forged. Street smart, but introspective, observant yet bold, he learned to navigate dual worlds, the traditions of his Nigerian heritage and the realities of British urban life. He wasn't the loudest in the room, but he was always watching, absorbing. A mimic, a performer even then, acting out characters from Nigerian soaps or American films on TV. His siblings recall a young boy who could switch accents on demand or reenact a scene from a movie with uncanny precision. Even before he knew the word actor, Damson had already started becoming one. Education, for Damson Idris, was more than a curriculum. It was a way out. In the structured corridors of British public schools, he found both challenge and focus. Though not always the top of the class, he possessed a quiet sharpness, an ability to read people, situations, and emotions with nuance. These instincts, rooted in survival, would later become tools of his craft. Originally, Damson had his eyes set on a very different stage, the football pitch. Like many London boys of Nigerian descent, he dreamed of becoming a professional player. For a while, it seemed possible. He played as a right winger and had raw talent, agility, and presence. But life, as it often does, rerouted his ambition. A key turning point came during his time at Brunel University, London, where he pursued a degree in theatre, film, and television studies. There he encountered a wider world, both creatively and socially. It was also at Brunel that he met British actress Kathy Tyson, who became a formative mentor. She encouraged him to consider acting as a serious pursuit rather than a fleeting interest. Her belief in his raw potential gave him the confidence to start auditioning. Another powerful influence in Damson's development was his admiration for Denzel Washington. More than just a favorite actor, Denzel represented excellence, grace, and the ability to transform, the same attributes Damson was beginning to nurture within himself. He would later study Washington's performances with near-religious focus, pausing scenes, memorizing gestures, replicating cadence. He joined the Identity School of Acting in London, a talent incubator known for shaping some of the UK's most prominent black actors. Surrounded by ambitious peers and rigorous training, he learned discipline, technique, and the power of emotional truth. By the time he left university, the dream of football had faded, but a new purpose had taken root. Damson Idris had found his voice, and more importantly, the courage to use it. Breaking into acting is never linear. And for Damson Idris, the path began not with a bang, but a series of quiet, deliberate steps. After honing his craft at the Identity School of Acting, he started booking roles in British television. Appearances in shows like Doctors, Casualty, and Miranda didn't catapult him into fame, but they did something more important. They trained him. Each set became a classroom, every role a chance to test his range. His breakthrough moment came in 2015 when he starred in Ada Solanke's play Pandora's Box, which toured the UK and even made a stop at the Arcola Theatre in London. Critics began to take notice. Damson had presence, that magnetic stillness and precision rare in young actors. It wasn't long before his name was quietly circulating in casting circles. But it was the audition for Snowfall that would change everything. The FX crime drama, co-created by the late John Singleton, was looking for a lead to portray Franklin Saint, a smart, ambitious South Central teen who becomes a drug kingpin during the early days of the crack cocaine epidemic. Singleton had a vision, but finding someone who could carry the role was proving difficult. The part demanded range, restraint, and a believable American accent, something few Brits could convincingly pull off under pressure. When Damson walked into the audition room, he was unknown in the US, but within minutes he had transformed. His American accent, perfected through hours of study and dialect coaching, stunned the producers. More than just the voice, he became Franklin. Singleton reportedly asked, "Where are you from again?" Damson answered, "London." Singleton smiled and said, "You're the one." The risk of casting a relatively unknown British actor to lead a major American series was bold, but Damson's commitment, charisma, and authenticity made it clear. This was not just a role he could play, it was a world he could command. The show premiered in 2017. From that moment on, Damson Idris was no longer an actor trying to break in. He was the breakout. When Snowfall premiered in July 2017, viewers had no idea they were witnessing the launch of one of television's most compelling new talents. Damson Idris, stepping into the role of Franklin Saint, delivered a performance so layered, so ruthlessly human, that it silenced any doubts about his British roots. By the second episode, he wasn't just playing a character, he was Franklin, with all his contradictions, brilliant yet broken, calculating yet vulnerable. The show, grounded in the early days of America's crack cocaine crisis, demanded authenticity. It was a world of blurred morality, generational trauma, and systemic exploitation. Damson didn't just rise to the occasion, he elevated the material. Critics praised his transformation, noting how effortlessly he shifted from boyish charm to chilling authority. Over the next 6 seasons, Franklin Saint evolved, and so did Damson. But Snowfall was more than just a TV role. It was a cultural conversation, and Damson was at its center. He embodied the quiet storm of a young man shaped by circumstance, greed, and desperation. Viewers connected with Franklin's complexity, and by extension, with Damson's artistry. Suddenly, he was appearing on talk shows, fashion spreads, and magazine covers. Vanity Fair hailed him as one of the actors to watch. Hollywood began to listen. Soon, film roles followed. In 2021, he starred alongside Anthony Mackie in Outside the Wire, a Netflix sci-fi action thriller. It marked his official transition from TV star to leading man on the global stage. The film wasn't just a streaming success. It showcased Damson's range, physically demanding, emotionally grounded, and future-facing. The camera loved him, and the industry took notice. He was also praised for his humility and work ethic. Directors noted how prepared he arrived on set, how curious he remained about the craft. Off-screen, he was charming, articulate, and unafraid to speak about his roots, never shying away from the fact that he came from Peckham, or that his success was hard-earned. His growing fan base spanned continents, from South London to Los Angeles, Lagos to Atlanta. Young black actors in the UK saw in him a mirror, proof that international success was possible without abandoning one's identity. By 2025, Damson Idris was no longer just the guy from Snowfall. He was a rising global icon, part of a new vanguard reshaping what stardom looks and sounds like. And the most exciting part? It felt like he was just getting started. Damson Idris's career, though still unfolding, is already marked by milestones that many actors only dream of. After the success of Snowfall, He didn't rest on the comfort of a hit series. He expanded. His choices revealed a deliberate strategy: stretch the craft, diversify the roles, and stay grounded in purpose. In 2022, his performance in the final seasons of Snowfall was met with particular acclaim. As Franklin Saint spiraled into paranoia, trauma, and ruthless ambition, Damson met the emotional demand with surgical precision. Industry insiders began whispering his name during award season. Though he narrowly missed major nominations that year, many critics felt it was only a matter of time before the gold followed the gravity of his work. Beyond acting, Damson began stepping into roles behind the camera. In 2023, he took on executive producer duties for select Snowfall episodes, signaling a move toward creative control. He's since expressed interest in directing, noting that storytelling doesn't begin in front of the lens, it begins in vision. He also became a go-to for high-profile collaborations. Directors known for working with A-list talent began courting him for upcoming projects. Though he remains selective, he's rumored to be attached to an international espionage thriller and an African historical drama, both of which could further cement his versatility. In fashion, Damson found a second stage. Frequently seen in sleek, tailored fits at Paris Fashion Week and on the cover of GQ, he became a muse for designers who valued both elegance and edge. In 2024, he landed a major ambassador role with Louis Vuitton, fusing his Nigerian-British heritage with global luxury. His influence isn't just about red carpets or roles. It's about representation. He's helped redefine what a British leading man can look and sound like, blending cultural fluency, emotional intelligence, and undeniable screen presence. The industry took note, and young actors began to cite him as proof that global reach could be achieved without erasure. By 2025, Damson Idris is not just a talented actor. He's a multidimensional force, a producer, a fashion icon, and a cultural figure shaping the next chapter of Black international stardom. Damson Idris has never been content with staying in just one lane. While acting remains his central passion, 2025 finds him branching out with an entrepreneur's curiosity and an artist's eye. His side projects and business ventures reveal a man thinking long-term about legacy, ownership, and creative freedom. In recent years, Damson has shown growing interest in production. Inspired by the paths of actors turned producers like Michael B. Jordan and Brad Pitt, he's begun laying the foundation for his own company. While the name is still under wraps, insiders report that it aims to spotlight underrepresented voices, particularly stories from the African diaspora and working-class British communities. Several short films are already in development, and there's talk of an original scripted series set between London and Lagos. His creative ambition also crosses into tech and digital culture. Damson has made quiet moves in the Web3 space, aligning with blockchain storytelling platforms and exploring NFTs tied to cultural narratives. Unlike celebrities who rushed into crypto for fast headlines, Damson's approach has been more thoughtful, seeking collaborations that preserve art, history, and authenticity. He's also a style entrepreneur. As a known presence in the fashion world, rumors have swirled about a capsule menswear collection inspired by his signature look: sharp lines, neutral tones, and subtle Afrocentric details. Whether it's a co-branded line with a major house or a private label, it's clear that fashion isn't just a hobby. It's a platform for self-expression and influence. Beyond business, Damson remains engaged with philanthropy, albeit quietly. He's supported youth theater programs in South London and contributed to initiatives providing scholarships for Black British students pursuing the arts. Though not one to boast about his charitable giving, he often credits his own mentors and education for giving him a chance, and he's now returning that favor to the next generation. From screen to startup, from Peckham to the front row of Milan, Damson Idris is building something bigger than celebrity. He's building a world, one project, one purpose, one voice at a time. By 2025, Damson Idris lives a life that feels light years away from his modest beginnings, but he carries the past with him in everything he builds. His lifestyle today is a blend of understated luxury, cultural pride, and intentional privacy. He doesn't flaunt his wealth, he curates it. His primary residence is a sleek, modern mansion nestled in the hills of Los Angeles, a world away from the council flats of Peckham. The home, reportedly valued at over $5 million, is a minimalist marvel with floor-to-ceiling glass walls, open-air courtyards, and breathtaking canyon views. Inside, the decor balances contemporary taste with Afrocentric touches. Think clean white walls contrasted by bold West African art, handcrafted wooden sculptures, and rich earth tones. The house includes everything you'd expect from an A-list retreat. A private screening room where Damson often studies classic films, a rooftop pool that hosts intimate industry gatherings, and a soundproof music studio where friends, including musician collaborators, come to jam or brainstorm. There's a gym customized to his training regimen, meditation spaces with imported Nigerian textiles, and an outdoor lounge that transforms into an open-air cinema on warm California nights. While Los Angeles is home base, it's not the only key in his property portfolio. Sources close to him hint at a second residence in London, likely in the upscale neighborhood of Hampstead or Notting Hill, where he can reconnect with family and the city that shaped him. More intriguingly, there are whispers of land ownership in Lagos, possibly for future development or family legacy projects. For Damson, real estate isn't just investment, it's narrative. His lifestyle is equally intentional. He's known to split time between work and recovery, often escaping to wellness retreats in Mexico or Morocco. He's been spotted at minimalist resorts, sipping herbal teas and reading philosophy books under palm trees. Unlike many celebrities, he doesn't crave constant visibility. Instead, he treats privacy like gold, stepping into the spotlight only when the moment is right. When he entertains, it's with warmth and discretion. Intimate dinner parties with friends from across creative industries are more common than loud celebrity events. His circle is tight, his taste is refined, and his home reflects the man he's become, grounded, global, and deeply intentional. Damson Idris may live with humility, but his car collection tells another side of his success, one shaped by passion, precision, and presence. In 2025, his garage is more than a place to park. It's a curated gallery of motion, status, and style. At the center of his fleet is a Lamborghini Urus, the ultra-luxury SUV that merges performance with elegance. Damson reportedly had his custom wrapped in matte charcoal black, with blood orange accents in the stitching, a nod to the Nigerian flag and his personal aesthetic of subtle distinction. With over 640 horsepower, it's his go-to for late-night drives through Mulholland or pulling up to premieres with quiet dominance. Next to it sits a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, a vehicle that exudes presence. This is the car for those rare public moments when Damson needs to project gravitas. Award season, black tie galas, or business meetings in Beverly Hills. The Cullinan is customized with a starlight ceiling and ebony leather interiors, and it whispers wealth without ever shouting. On the electric front, Damson also owns a Tesla Model X Plaid, reflecting his interest in sustainability and tech innovation. He's been photographed charging it outside Soho House, West Hollywood, often dressed in sweats and sunglasses, barely recognizable to fans, a nod to his everyday minimalism. But the crown jewel of his collection might be the Mercedes-AMG GT Black Series, a track-worthy supercar he rarely takes out. Friends say it's his indulgence, a mechanical metaphor for how far he's come and how fast he plans to go. As for motorcycles, while not confirmed, some speculate that Damson owns a limited edition Ducati, spotted once in his Instagram stories, parked beside a pool with an LA skyline in the background. Whether for actual rides or just as a symbol of freedom, it adds an edge to his refined image. Then there's the most elusive asset of all, a private jet. While he doesn't publicly flaunt it, Damson is believed to co-own a Gulfstream G550, often traveling with creative partners and close friends between London, Los Angeles, and Lagos. It's less about luxury for him and more about time, the most expensive currency in his world. Beyond vehicles, he owns an enviable watch collection, favoring timepieces from Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe. In fashion, his wardrobe includes custom-tailored pieces from Louis Vuitton, Fear of God, and local Nigerian designers, blending continents and cultures into a single style narrative. Every car, every asset in Damson's world is chosen with care, not just for what it is, but for what it represents. While Damson Idris isn't the type to campaign from a podium or fire off controversial tweets, his political voice resonates through clarity, consistency, and conscious presence. In 2025, he stands as one of a new generation of global Black artists who understand the power of visibility and use it, not recklessly, but purposefully. Damson has spoken candidly about the experience of being a Black British actor navigating both the UK and US entertainment systems. He's commented on the disparity in opportunities, the coded limitations of British casting, and the sometimes narrow lanes offered to Black talent. But instead of framing his journey in bitterness, he speaks with strategic optimism, always pointing toward change, progress, and responsibility. He's also vocal about representation in storytelling. In interviews and panels, Damson has consistently emphasized the importance of complexity, pushing against flat or stereotypical portrayals of Black characters. Whether portraying Franklin Saint or developing future projects, he insists on honesty, depth, and nuance. For him, art is inherently political because it shapes the stories a society tells about itself. Outside of the industry, Damson has been an active supporter of youth empowerment and mental health awareness, particularly within the Black community. He's aligned with organizations that provide mentorship and creative access to underrepresented teens in both London and Los Angeles. His belief: visibility only matters if it lifts others. When protests swept across the globe in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement, Damson lent his platform thoughtfully. He didn't just repost slogans, he shared resources, spoke on panels, and encouraged long-term policy engagement. He's since voiced support for reforming policing systems, increasing arts funding in disadvantaged communities, and investing in Black-owned enterprises. However, he's also careful not to let politics eclipse personality. He doesn't pretend to be a politician. He leads through presence, not performance. His influence lies in how he moves through rooms, how he opens doors behind him, and how he carries his heritage with pride. In an age where activism can often feel performative, Damson Idris's stance is refreshingly grounded. Speak when it matters, act when it counts, and let your life be the message. Behind the commanding performances and designer suits lies a man grounded in introspection. Damson Idris, in 2025, has built more than a career. He's built a personal code. One rooted in clarity, discipline, and quiet spirituality. If his early life taught him resilience, his fame has taught him restraint, the wisdom to move through chaos without becoming it. Damson often speaks about balance. In interviews, he's described the industry as both exhilarating and exhausting, a constant performance even off-camera. To counter that, he's adopted a lifestyle anchored in wellness and self-awareness. Meditation, therapy, and intentional solitude have become regular parts of his life. He's said more than once, "If I don't protect my peace, I can't create." Fitness is also key, not just for roles, but for rhythm. He trains 5 days a week, alternating between strength circuits, boxing, and yoga. His routine isn't driven by vanity. It's part of a larger philosophy of internal discipline. He's spoken about the mental clarity that comes from physical rigor, how a quiet gym session can sometimes bring more answers than a crowded boardroom. His spirituality is private, but present. Raised with Nigerian Christian values, Damson still draws from faith as a compass. He doesn't preach, but he reflects, often referencing prayer, divine timing, or ancestral guidance in his conversations. He believes in purpose, in trusting the timing of his journey, and in honoring those who came before him. Books are a major part of his wellness. Whether it's African philosophy, poetry, or the writings of James Baldwin and Maya Angelou, Damson reads not just to escape, but to connect. He's mentioned journaling as part of his morning routine, a habit that keeps him rooted in gratitude and intention, even as his world expands. He avoids the party circuit more often than not. Though he occasionally attends industry events, he's rarely the last to leave. He values depth over distraction. His downtime is often spent with a close circle of creatives, traveling or simply sitting in silence, listening to music, sketching ideas, or mapping out the next move. For Damson Idris, success is not about speed. It's about staying centered. In a world that moves fast, he's mastered the art of stillness. Though Damson Idris has stepped fully into the glare of global fame, his most consistent anchor remains the quiet, enduring presence of family. Born the youngest of 6, Damson still speaks of his siblings with reverence, as protectors, role models, and co-survivors of a childhood shaped by hustle, laughter, and shared sacrifice. His mother, a Nigerian immigrant and former NHS worker, remains the spiritual core of his world. He often credits her with instilling in him a sense of discipline and dignity that fame has never erased. Even with his base now in Los Angeles, Damson stays deeply connected to his family in London. Visits are frequent, and FaceTime calls are part of his daily rhythm. He's spoken of how his siblings still keep him humble, treating him less like a celebrity and more like the cheeky youngest who used to impersonate movie characters in the kitchen. In interviews, he'll mention them with a grin, stories peppered with inside jokes and hard-earned respect. As for his romantic life, 2025 finds Damson Idris in a relationship that has drawn steady attention. While he has always been private about love, he was previously linked to model and entrepreneur Lori Harvey. Whether they are still together is subject to ongoing speculation, as both have been careful to maintain discretion. Damson has never built his brand around tabloid narratives. He prefers moments of intimacy to stay just that, intimate. What is clear, however, is his perspective on love and relationships. He's spoken openly about loyalty, emotional intelligence, and the importance of having a partner who understands the demands of his lifestyle. For Damson, love isn't about status. It's about shared values, spiritual connection, and support through the highs and lows. He once said in a podcast, "I want someone who sees the boy from Peckham before the actor on the screen." He's also not in a rush. While questions about marriage and family come up often, Damson seems to be taking his time, focused on building something lasting rather than rushing into a performance for public approval. Parenthood is something he's hinted at in the future, but only when the time is right and the foundation is strong. In the world of flash relationships and online spectacle, Damson Idris remains refreshingly intentional. Whether in family or love, he values substance over show, choosing privacy not as a shield, but as an offering of respect to the people who matter most. For all his visibility on screen, there's still much about Damson Idris that the public rarely sees. Beyond the sharp acting instincts and red carpet poise, he's a man of many layers and some surprising talents. One of his most unexpected gifts: impressions. From childhood, Damson had a knack for mimicking accents, characters, and vocal quirks, a skill that, while playful in family settings, later became essential in his acting toolkit. Long before he was cast as Franklin Saint, he had already mastered the nuances of American speech. Friends say he could flip between New York bravado, Southern drawl, and LA slang mid-conversation, often as a party trick that left people stunned. Another lesser-known talent is his love for writing. Damson has quietly penned scripts and short stories over the years, some of which have made their way into early development conversations. While he's yet to formally release a written work, he's expressed a desire to eventually write and direct a feature, ideally something that blends his Nigerian roots with diasporic themes, family, and identity. Damson is also a football fanatic, and not just in a casual Sunday viewing kind of way. Before acting took center stage, he dreamed of going pro. He still plays regularly in celebrity charity matches and maintains close friendships with professional players. His favorite team? Arsenal FC, a loyalty that runs deep and occasionally spills over into social media banter with fellow fans. Then there's his love for music, especially Afrobeats and old-school soul. While he's never ventured into performing, he's curated playlists for magazine features and sometimes DJs at private gatherings. He's known to have an encyclopedic knowledge of Nigerian artists, often putting friends onto the latest tracks coming out of Lagos before they break into Western charts. Perhaps most charming of all is his sense of humor. Though his roles tend to lean intense, Damson in real life is witty, self-deprecating, and unexpectedly goofy. Those close to him say laughter is central to his personality, a kind of invisible thread that connects his family, friendships, and even his performances. Under the sharp suits and serious roles lives a creative, playful, and deeply curious man, always exploring, always evolving. In an industry where headlines often blur the line between truth and spectacle, Damson Idris has managed to navigate fame with notable grace. But even the most composed journeys aren't without turbulence. His rise has included moments of scrutiny, criticism, and personal growth, the quiet storms behind the polished image. One of the earliest public challenges came during the launch of Snowfall. While his performance was widely praised, some critics and viewers initially questioned the authenticity of a British actor portraying an American drug kingpin in south-central Los Angeles. The accent, the cultural nuances, the audacity of the casting choice, it was all up for debate. Social media lit up with skepticism. But Damson didn't react defensively. Instead, he refined his craft even further. He immersed himself deeper into American Black history, culture, and dialect. He took the criticism seriously, not personally. Within a season, the doubt faded. What remained was respect. His response set the tone for his career. Work speaks louder than noise. Another moment of friction came with the public attention on his relationship with Lori Harvey. As photos circulated and paparazzi lenses zoomed in, some accused the pairing of being a PR stunt, a narrative often thrown at high-profile couples. Damson, characteristically private, never fed into the spectacle. When asked in interviews, he kept it respectful and minimal, protecting both his partner and his own emotional boundaries. There were also murmurs, though never confirmed, about tension on the Snowfall set during its later seasons. Some speculated that growing creative input led to behind-the-scenes disagreements. However, co-stars and directors later publicly praised Damson's leadership and professionalism. If there were growing pains, he managed them away from public view. Outside of the spotlight, Damson has faced the everyday pressure of representation. Being one of the few Black British actors in American prestige television came with expectations to speak on race, class, identity. While he's handled these roles with care, he's also admitted the weight of them. In one interview, he said, "I never asked to be a spokesperson, but I know my visibility means something." Setbacks for Damson haven't been career-ending scandals. They've been moments of testing, pressure points that reveal strength. And in each case, he's returned sharper, quieter, and more sure of who he is. By 2025, Damson Idris has become more than an actor. He's become a symbol of what's possible when talent meets discipline, when cultural duality becomes a bridge instead of a burden, and when visibility is paired with substance. His legacy, though still in the making, is already casting long shadows across continents and generations. In Hollywood, Damson is widely credited with helping shift the narrative around Black British actors in American television. While he followed in the footsteps of talents like Idris Elba and David Oyelowo, he brought a new edge, a rawness, a modernity that expanded the scope of what such performers could represent. Franklin Saint wasn't a noble hero or a tragic trope. He was layered, complex, and human. And in playing him with such nuance, Damson cracked open new storytelling space for characters who don't fit neatly into any box. For young actors, particularly those from immigrant backgrounds in the UK, his journey stands as a roadmap. He's proof that you don't have to dilute your roots to reach a global stage, that you can bring Peckham to Pasadena, Yoruba wisdom to Sunset Boulevard, and still be celebrated for your full self. In the Black diaspora, his influence is quietly powerful. Damson has championed African excellence without exoticizing it. Whether through the Nigerian art in his home, his wardrobe choices that elevate African designers, or the way he seamlessly references his heritage in interviews, he's helped reframe cultural pride as everyday elegance. In a world that often demands assimilation, he reminds people to remember where they came from. His legacy also includes his voice behind the camera. As he moves deeper into producing and development, Damson is actively reshaping what gets made and who gets to make it. Projects centered on Black love, African futurism, working-class British stories, and diasporic intersections are finding new light under his creative leadership. Even in fashion, he's made a mark. Damson Idris didn't just become a style icon, he became a style narrative. With every tailored suit, every Afrobeat-scored editorial, he communicates a message: presence matters. Representation is visual, verbal, and visceral. But perhaps his greatest cultural impact is quieter still, in the way he carries himself. He models a new masculinity, one rooted in self-awareness, empathy, and restraint. A masculinity that uplifts instead of dominates, listens instead of shouts, and reflects instead of reacts. Damson Idris isn't just building a career, he's building a lane. And if the first decade of his work is any indication, that lane will widen into a highway for many more to follow. Damson Idris entered the spotlight with little more than raw talent, quiet confidence, and a dream forged in the modest flats of South London. Now, in 2025, he stands as one of the most compelling artists of his generation, a global force whose lifestyle is as thoughtful as his performances. His story is not just one of fame, but of formation. Each chapter, from his upbringing in a Nigerian household, to the rigorous grind of British theater training, to the unrelenting demands of Hollywood, has shaped a man who understands both where he came from and where he's headed. Every decision, from the roles he accepts to the homes he builds, reveals a person committed not just to success, but to legacy. He's redefined what it means to be a leading man. He's rejected easy labels, sidestepped loud controversies, and chosen evolution over ego. Whether he's slipping into character on screen, producing future-forward content behind it, or curating a lifestyle that blends luxury with intentionality, Damson Idris walks with purpose. His cars move fast, but he doesn't rush. His homes are expansive, but he stays grounded. His circle may be elite, but he speaks with the language of the people. The whispers about what's next are growing louder. A directorial debut? A global production house? A move into philanthropy on a deeper scale? Whatever comes, one truth remains. Damson is not just living a dream, he's designing a blueprint. In an industry addicted to spectacle, he's chosen soul. In a time of noise, he's made stillness his superpower, and in a world eager to define him, he's defined himself. As a man of art, intention, and cultural momentum. So whether he's soaring above the clouds in his private jet, unwinding in his LA estate, or mentoring the next generation from a London stage, one thing is certain. Damson Idris isn't just a star, he's a standard.